Okay, and then I'm going to start sharing my screen. Can everybody see my screen? Oh, I'm hoping yes.
Progress.
Oh, and are you able to see everything? I'm sorry. Nancy, can you,
It was there and then it just disappeared.
okay. All right, I'm gonna try that again. Hold on.
So you'll see a message there that says, to continue, which means you're consenting to be recorded, and that'll open the screen back up.
Got it. All righty. There we go. We're good now. Okay. So that being said, let me just make this so that you guys can slide. Oh, nope. Okay. So Wreaths Across America. Just for those who might not know, Wreaths Across America, we're a national nonprofit. We were founded in 2007. Although many people will who know more about Wreaths Across America know that we actually have been placing wreaths at Arlington since 1992. Morrill Worcester, who was our founder, he started placing wreaths there, 5,000 wreaths, after he had an excess of wreaths one December, and he hated to see those wreaths go to waste. So he was able to contact our local senator and get permission to bring those wreaths to Arlington after remembering a trip he took when he was younger down to DC. And he's a very patriotic man. Anyone who's met Morrill, he's not military himself, doesn't come from a military family, but he feels very strongly about supporting our military and their families. And that's where it started. And it was a private gift that he and his family made every year from 1992 to about 2005. A photo was taken of the wreaths on the headstones at Arlington, and it went viral back when things kind of went viral, and it made a difference. And he started receiving money and emails and calls from all over the world, and they couldn't accept people's money. And really what it was that folks wanted to be part of it. They wanted to honor and remember the veterans in their communities as well. And so from that, the idea for the national nonprofit Wreaths Across America was born. We were founded officially in 2007 with a very simple mission. Remember the fallen, honor those that serve and their families, and teach the next generation the value of freedom. So remember, honor, teach. And we've been growing significantly ever since then. So when we talk about remembering the fallen, things that we do to remember, we have our annual pilgrimage from Maine down to Arlington National Cemetery. It's a week-long convoy. It's filled with Gold Star families and veterans and Blue Star families and truck drivers and law enforcement, Patriot Guard riders. Literally, we make about a 2-mile long parade going down the East Coast. And we stop at schools and memorials and locations all down the East Coast, really trying to honor the veterans in those communities, help remember those who have served and sacrificed, and then just teach the younger generation. It's an amazing week-long event that I know some of Gold Star wives have actually participated in the past, and it's a very moving and meaningful tradition. We've tried to expand it. Last year due to COVID, we had a smaller convoy, but we made it virtual so that people all over the nation could follow us. And we've seen a lot of convoys happening in other parts of the country as well, with wreath deliveries to larger cemeteries in other parts of the country. In doing so, making stops at memorials and schools to help teach. We have our Remembrance Tree program, which is a amazing, again, kind of a gift that Morrill gave us. We have the tip lands where the balsam is harvested each year to make the veterans wreaths that are placed on headstones all over the country. And so many Gold Star families come to Maine, to the museum, and to visit Wreaths Across America. And what started as a gift to Gold Star families, we created a replica dog tag of your loved one, and you can pick a tree on the tip land, and that becomes your loved one's tree. And every year, every 3 years, excuse me, that tree will be tipped. It's basically given a haircut. And those balsam bouquets will be used to make veterans' wreaths that are then laid on veterans' graves. We have over 11,000 of these remembrance tree tags all over the tip land. It's a place where you can come and visit whenever you feel the need. It's free, and we definitely encourage you to, if you're interested in that, let me know. We can put the link in the chat for folks if they'd like to have a dog tag made for your loved one. We also have a heart ceremony, which is honoring our allies remembering together, which is something that we conduct each year. We're trying to grow this program. Actually, we actually go to the border here in Maine. We also have done it in Washington State and in Michigan, where we go to the border and do a wreath exchange with the Silver Cross Mothers of Canada in honoring their families and their loved ones who served during in support of the United States during conflicts. So we're looking to expand that, actually. And then we also have our state house ceremonies that we do in every state each year on the Monday before Wreaths Across America Day. And that's just again, this is just a short highlight. We do a lot more than this, but this is just to kind of give everyone the idea. Oh, hold on, I need to pause and let some more people in. There's a bunch of people waiting to come in. There we go. All right, sorry about that. And just a reminder, if you're not muted, if you could mute, there's some background noise and to see the mute button is at the bottom left hand of your screen. You can click that mute button and make it a little bit easier so there won't be as much background noise. Thank you. Okay, moving along. So, and how we honor. So honor those that serve and their families. Again, this is just kind of a high level of what Wreaths Across America does. You know, this is, we try to really work with like-minded organizations, much like yourselves, Gold Star Wives, trying to help share your stories and honor your loved ones through our different programming. We have our group sponsorship program, which I'll talk more about in detail. We have our partners. We participate in many veterans events and local community events through our Wreaths Across America radio. We do quite a bit to share the things that are happening with our military families. And as well as we have our Thanks a Million campaign, we have these free IOU cards that you can order and basically sign your name to, so that you have on hand if you see a veteran. Sometimes it can be difficult for someone to go up to a veteran and say thank you, even though they want to. So by having something on hand that they want to hand them and say thank you for your service, it just gives that little bit of an icebreaker for people. And that's something that we do every May. And again, we have our Wreaths Across America Museum, which is located here in Maine, as well as a mobile education exhibit that I'm hoping some of you have seen. It's been traveling the country, actually, and has this year we've actually been to, we've been to more than 13 states, and we've welcomed home over 1,000 Vietnam veterans as a partner of the United States of America Vietnam War commemoration. So we've had the honor of welcoming home many Vietnam veterans, and also giving the family lapel pin to some family members whose veteran is no longer with us. This slide is actually a little old. We used to have a veteran liaison, and we've actually since gone above and beyond that. And we recently hired a director of military and veteran outreach. Gentleman's name is Joe Regan. He's based in Colorado Springs. Joe is a retired Army captain. He was a Ranger, an airborne. I'm going to get all the things that he did wrong, but he spent just under 900 days in Afghanistan. He has worked with many veteran organizations in helping to assist families of the fallen. So we're thrilled to have Joe on board, and I'm happy to share his contact information with anyone who might want to speak with him and learn from him. I'm still letting people in as we continue this, so. Okay. And then if you were to talk to our executive director, Karen, she would tell you that the most important part of our mission to remember, honor, and teach is the teach part, because really, in order for this mission and the remembrance and honor of our veterans and their families to continue, we need to teach the next generation about the value of freedom and learn about the service, sacrifice, and the character of those who are willing to raise their right hand for this country. So everything that we do across all of our channels and all of our events have a goal of teaching. So whether that's, most recently in May, we dedicated a memorial to the Flying Tiger Line Flight 739, which had 94 Army soldiers on board, went missing in 1964. And those men were never found and their names have never been added to the wall. And we built a wall for them on our tip land, and we invited the families out to get some closure. And in the process, we helped educate a lot of people about what took place and the importance of honoring these veterans and their families. So we had about 1,000 news articles that resulted from that event. And as a result, actually just this week, a senator in Michigan introduced a new bill to have those names, those soldiers' names added to the Vietnam Wall as a result of the work that we did to gain attention for it. So those are examples of some of the things that we try to do to just, make sure that the names and the stories of those who served are not lost. We also, as I mentioned, our mobile education exhibit. If you haven't had a chance to see it, we are currently in Tennessee, and it's heading to New Jersey this week, actually, before heading back up north for a little bit, and then during September, and then the entire month of October, we will be in Florida and doing several events in Florida. So we're pretty excited about that, and then we'll be doing quite a bit in the Maryland, Virginia, DC area in October and November. So just as background, right now, Wreaths Across America, we have about 5,000 local sponsorship groups, and I'll talk more about those groups that support our locations across the country. We're in all 50 states. We're also in Puerto Rico, and this year Guam, which is really exciting. We're trying to figure out how we're going to manage getting those wreaths over there, but we think we have it down. We have over 2,500 participating locations. So this year, we're actually expecting to have closer to about 2,900 participating locations. And that's really something. I mean, especially last year during COVID, we actually added about close to 400 new locations last year during the pandemic. And all you have to do is have a volunteer who's willing to sign up and say, hey, I'm going to take responsibility on behalf of Wreaths Across America for this location. There has to be veterans buried in the cemetery that you're signing up, and basically you have to be willing to hold a ceremony for Wreaths Across America. You don't have to raise wreath sponsorships if you don't want to. We do have some locations that are ceremonial only, and Wreaths Across America sends you those ceremonial wreaths for the ceremony. If you want to raise wreath sponsorships, you then can work with local groups to raise those funds. So that's all in addition to Arlington National Cemetery. So fast forward from 2007, when we first started as a nonprofit, which was only 14 years ago, that was our only location, was Arlington National Cemetery, and now we have just under 3,000 this year. So it's grown very fast. And this is just a timeline of some of those things. So from most recently last year, we placed 1.7 million veterans wreaths at just over 2,500 locations, which was pretty phenomenal considering everything that we had to go through last year to make sure those events could be held safely. 2018 was our first year to go overseas, and we placed just over 9,000 wreaths at Normandy American Cemetery in France in honor of the 75th anniversary of D-Day. The following year, 2019, we actually went to Margraten in the Netherlands and Luxembourg, where General Patton is buried and placed wreaths at those locations. We had to pause it last year and this year due to the pandemic, but we're anxious to hopefully in 2022 head back to Europe and honor those American heroes that never made it back home. So this is where I wanted to talk a little bit more with you guys. One of the things that Wreaths Across America, one of the reasons why we've grown so much is because we offer these sponsorship group options. So there's 3 types of sponsorship groups that you can participate as. There's the $5 back group, which is something that if your chapter signs up as a $5 back group, you then become a beneficiary of the sponsorships. And it's that idea of, you know, your donors doing good twice. So for $15, a donor sponsors a wreath for the location that your group or locations, you can pick a number of locations that you want to support. They'll sponsor a wreath to be placed on a headstone on Wreath Day, and your chapter will automatically get $5 back of that donation. So a $15 donation then in turn sponsors 2 groups, Wreaths Across America and Gold Star Wives. It's pretty successful program. We have many organizations. Some of our top organizations are Daughters of the American Revolution. They're actually our #1 group. They have just about 1,000 sponsorship groups across the country that are represented by local chapters. And then Civil Air Patrol Cadets, that's our #2 group. Those are squadrons all across the country who are raising funds for their local cemetery, but at the same time, they're raising funds for uniforms and field trips and things that are meaningful to their program. So that's a great, and we'll talk more about that in the next slide, but it's a great way to earn funds for your own initiatives. We also have a 3-for-2 group. So these are cemeteries. These are groups who, a good example of this is I have a Gold Star father in Texas, and his group is a 3-for-2. He just wants to make sure that every veteran at his cemetery is honored. So for every for every $30, so for every, 2 $15 wreath sponsorships, 3 wreaths are placed for the price of 2. So that is a way to get the most, bang for your buck if you're looking to just make sure you're honoring as many veterans as possible. And then the third sponsorship group is just a no plan group, and it's just a $15 wreath, and the $5 comes back to Wreaths Across America, and we use it for our operations. And that's actually how Wreaths Across America lives as a nonprofit, is off those $5 back. The $5 would then come to us. So, and it's just, we have many groups that just want to help sponsor wreaths, and they want to help the organization, and that's how they do it. So for the $5 group back program, $5 back group program. So this is really designed for groups like you. We've given back in the last 11 years. We just hit the $15 million mark of dollars we've given back to other groups through this program. It's really easy to sign up. You can have, basically, once you sign up as a sponsorship group, you have your own page and your own ID that you can put out there, and however you choose to do so, whether it's printed material or virtually. And basically, anytime someone uses your ID and sponsors a wreath or does it through your page, you will then get the $5 back. And that comes in the form of a check from Wreaths Across America that goes back to you. So all the money comes to Wreaths Across America. It then gets sorted out. So usually it's about every 6 to 8 weeks, we'll send a payback check to our groups for the money that you've earned for the dollars that you've raised. It's really quite easy to manage. Actually, Julie Bright, who is on this, I believe you're on now, Julie. She is our director of locations and groups, and her team manages this program for Wreaths Across America. And really, the liaisons that work on her team are just, they're here to hold your hand. They're here to answer any questions and help in any way possible to make folks be successful. The best way to do this to get signed up as a group is basically, if you go to wreathsacrossamerica.org, there's /fundraising, or if you go to wreathsacrossamerica.org, there is a menu where you can say, I volunteer to start a sponsorship group. From there, you can just follow the directions to sign up. You will get a custom sponsorship page. We'll give you all the tools to help you promote it, and then help you host events if you'd like to in your community. And then you can, and obviously this can be done year round. It's not limited to any time of the year. We have groups that their biggest time to fundraise is right after Wreath Day. So, January, right when people are thinking about it, they jump right on the next year to start fundraising, and usually are pretty successful in that respect. And like I mentioned, so the regional liaison, so Wreaths Across America has, right now we have 5 regions. Julie Bright is actually, even though she's the director of the group, she's currently the kind of the interim, as we say, for Region 1, which includes Maine and New England, because we actually just hired a new liaison, so she hasn't started yet. So Julie's been kind of playing double duty there. But we have these 5 wonderful women who basically are here to answer any questions that you might have. They can help you get any of the resources. We provide a lot of tools for all of our groups and locations, so that really you shouldn't have to be doing any reinventing of the wheel. And that includes press releases and social media posts, anything that might be helpful to you. I'm pretty sure we have available to you, and it can be customized to help you. So we're actually, I'm going to actually skip ahead to this one, the contact information, and I will make sure that all of this gets sent to Nancy to distribute after the fact, along with the link for this presentation, just so you all have contact information for the people within your region. So, that being said, if you were to call HQ and you're from California, they would probably direct you to Megan, who's in Region 4, and she lives in that area, and she'll be able to answer any questions that might be specific to California. So that being said, I'm actually going to pause now, and I'm going to stop sharing. Maybe. Yes, there we go. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to open it up to questions, and also talk a little bit more about Wreaths Across America Radio. But before I do that, I wanted to just see if anybody has any questions and check in the chat. I can't see.
So this is Nancy, and I just wanted to just mention Deb Skelton is actually going to be our liaison. So Deb will be the one that you, rather than me, go through. I mean, I'll be copied on it too, but Deb's going to be the main point of contact for Gold Star Wives with Wreaths Across America.
Thank you. Yes, Nancy, appreciate that. Yeah. And I'm not seeing, Amy just asked a question. Oh, hi, Pam. Pamela, that's Leah's mom. Pam Sommer, nice to see you. Leah does our media strategy and buying here for Wreaths Across America. She's a dear friend of mine, and that's her mom. So is there anyone else that has any questions? I had one question in chat that was how we were going to be able to access the recording afterwards, and we'll certainly do, we'll certainly send out an email that has the recording link for you, and we'll actually send some more details about how to sign up as a sponsorship group. Margaret is asking about the Remembrance Tree program, and I'm happy to provide more details about that. The Remembrance Tree program is something that I think for a lot of people, it takes them off guard how much it means to them. It's a link that actually, Julie, I'm wondering if you could throw the link to the Remembrance Tree program, thank you, in the chat. It doesn't cost anything. It's just you provide their details of your loved ones. So their name, when they served, you can include what branch of the military they were in. And then what we do is we create personally replica dog tag for your loved one. And then you can choose to come to Maine, and if you're able, and pick a tree. So you basically pick a tree we have designated sections across the tip land, but you pick a balsam tree And just know that every 3 years that tree will be trimmed. It's basically, we call it tipping. It's like giving it a haircut. If you were to go on the tip land now, you'll see a lot of really skinny trees. Those trees were harvested last year for wreaths. But they grow back even fuller because the sunlight coming in, they have more access to the branches and the sunlight, they grow back even fuller. So 3 years down the road, those will be tipped, and you'll know that your loved one's tree is producing the branches for a wreath that will go to an American hero. And I think the nice thing about it is that it's a living memorial. And a lot of Gold Star families that I know have said, I have a dear family that in Maine, the Sullivans, their son Christopher was killed about 12 years ago. And they come and visit their tree once a week. And she does that because for her son's buried at Arlington. For her, it's a much more, the stone for her is too much. It's like a definitive, the stone is like, he's gone. Seeing the tree gives her hope and feels like he's still giving back in some way. So it's a very moving living memorial. It's completely free. And you can come visit your tree whenever you want. Our staff, we have 2 people on staff who I honestly don't know how they keep track of all the trees, but they do. They seem to they can find anyone's tree. It's amazing to me. Kevin Woodward, he's our chaplain. He's the Maine State chaplain for the American Legion. He is our veteran liaison on staff in Maine, and he will find anyone's tree. And he has spent many days in the woods looking, and he will always find it. And he can bring you to your loved one's tree. And usually once you've been there, you'll know how to get back. But it's a beautiful place to visit. And we will, if you can't go, we'll pick a tree for you and we'll take a picture and we'll send that to you with the coordinates so that you have that for longevity. So that's what the Remembrance Tree program is. So that being said, the other piece of this is, I'm actually going to stop share. Hold on. There we go. The other piece of this that I wanted to share with everybody, unless there's more questions, is Wreaths Across America Radio, which Nancy mentioned at the beginning of this call. So Wreaths Across America Radio is our 24/7 internet radio stream that can be heard on iHeartRadio. You can also hear it by going to Wreaths Across America, wreathsacrossamerica.org/radio. Julie, I don't know if you can pop those in there too. Help me out. I can also find it after, but you can download it on your phone. You can listen on your computer. It's super easy to do. It's a free app on your phone. And once you download the iHeartRadio app, you just look up Wreaths. We're the only wreath station in the world. I know that's shocking, but we're the only one. And you can listen any time of day. We have some awesome programming, including the music that got us through World War II. We have a salute to service that highlights law enforcement. We have a regular show called Mission Matters, where our executive director, actually Nancy and Deb were on Mission Matters with Karen Worcester back in June, I think. And just interviewing and hearing from military veterans and Gold Star families, and really just sharing stories. And that's what our goal as an organization is to be a voice for America's veterans and their families. So if you would like to share a story or share details about your loved one, we would love to hear it, and we'd love to share that. I'm going to put in the chat, and I'll make sure this gets sent to when we send the files. If anyone has any stories that they want to share, any details about their loved one that they feel would be worth an interview, honestly, just reach out on it's WAA radio at wreathsacrossamerica.org. And I'm going to put that in the chat right now. And you can just send an email and say, I'm a member of Gold Star Wives, and I'd love to connect and tell you about my loved one. And we'd be thrilled to tell that story. And it doesn't have to be anything of importance that's anything significant. It could just be telling us their name and where they served, and telling us about their lives. Because for us, that's that's what we want to hear. We want to hear about their lives, not their deaths. And so that's where we have the opportunity to do that. We have about 10,000 regular listeners, and that number is growing. So, I think most of you, if given the opportunity to tune in, would probably really enjoy it. There's some really good programming. When it's just regular music, it's typically more on the country, folk, and patriotic music kind of genre, just so you know. But we do have a lot of special programming that there's a lot of Vietnam era stuff on. Every Friday we have a show called Cup of Joe, and it's with the host is a disabled Vietnam veteran, and he just plays all the great. He's a real, all the great music from Vietnam, and they always have folks on from that help with specifically to Vietnam veteran services and things of that nature. So it's a great program, but we would love to hear from you all, and just know that if you have events happening in your community that Gold Star Wives is supporting, we can help you promote those by contacting us, and we can let our audience know about how to participate in your community. So good question, Nancy. Nancy asked, would a person be interviewed live or they could do something sent in? We can do either. If you're comfortable doing something live, we do have a live morning show, Monday through Friday. It airs from 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern time. We do highlights in the afternoon for some of those folks on the West Coast who don't want to tune in at 3:30 in the morning. But if you'd like to do live, we can do something with our morning show host. If you'd rather be taped, we can absolutely do something taped, because sometimes you might feel more comfortable doing that. Usually we'll just ask for a picture probably to go along with whomever you want to share a story about, just so that we can help promote that. But we own all the content, and we're looking to fill 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I guarantee you we'll find a way to get you on the air if you're interested. And really it's just about wanting to make sure the memory of your loved ones stay alive, and we share their service and their sacrifice with our audience. Any other questions about that? I mean, what we'll do is, like I said, when we send this after the fact, and Deb, I'll send you the recording and the PowerPoint and some of these details just kind of in an email recap for everybody. If anyone has any other questions, you can unmute yourselves and certainly feel free to ask, or there's also a little hand. Go ahead, Nancy.
What about if like a chapter wanted to get together and all tell their stories at the same time, something like that? Or would it have to be like one person? What do you think of that?
I think we could find a way to make that work, Nancy, honestly. I think we haven't done something like that, but not to say we couldn't. We could schedule a conference call of some kind, or a Zoom. We've done those before, where we've done a Zoom and we record the Zoom, and we can take the audio from the Zoom and maybe edit it down a little bit to get rid of the background noise. So there's definitely options. I mean, I'm confident the team will find a way to make that work.
Okay, that might encourage people to share their story more if they were with their sister Gold Star Wives or something.
I understand that. And honestly, I'm going to throw this out there too. Wreaths Across America is partnering with the American Rosie movement, and we actually are going to be ringing a bell for Rosies on September 3rd. If anyone knows any Rosies, or knows any descendants of Rosies, or has it, maybe even if you have members that are Rosies, I don't know.
Yeah. Our past president, Judy Van Cleve, her mother is a Rosie.
Oh, really? I mean, we would love to talk with her. We've been featuring Rosies on, we've been doing interviews. We just did one with a 95-year-old Rosie, just a complete hoot. And we're pretty excited about sharing those stories. We are actually partnering with them and that organization in 2022. We're going to be launching a educational program to try and get kids to serve in their communities, much like the Rosies did, and try and get them motivated to give back in their communities. So if you know anyone knows any Rosies in your chapters, we certainly please reach that WAA radio at wreathsacrossamerica.org. send an email and give, information, and we will absolutely reach out, because it's so critical. Much like the World War, the greatest generation, we're losing a lot of those veterans, we're losing a lot of those Rosies as well. So we certainly want to try and capture those stories before they're gone.
That's great.
Yeah, so we'll actually be if you're on Facebook, we'll be ringing a bell for Rosies on Friday, September 3rd at 1 p.m. Eastern at the founders of Wreaths Across America have a non-denominational chapel on their land, and we will be ringing the bell at the chapel together. And we might have a Rosie or two show up, a much younger version who might be dressed up as a Rosie. And those are just the types of opportunities. So when we go back to talking about the Remember, Honor, Teach, for us, the Rosies is it's a great way to teach the next generation, right? So teaching what is a Rosie, what does it mean, and what did they do that was so special? And it wasn't about the physical things they did. It was about bringing their communities together and stepping up to serve and working together as a country for the greater good. And that idea of service is something that Wreaths Across America really wants to help educate next generations about. So, any other questions? Well, hearing none, I'm going to say.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead. I can't hear who it was, but go ahead.
Okay, this is Pat.
Hi, Pat.
Pat Miller. My mother was a cadet nurse in the Cadet Nurse Corps during World War II before she went in the Army Nurse Corps. And they're like others of World War II era. Of course, my mother's passed away, but many of the other nurses, they have passed away. Congress has a bill looking at recognizing them. And I wondered if that's something that you guys would be interested in terms of talking about that group.
Absolutely.
I know they have information at the NAMSA Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I might send you an email.
Yeah, please do. I'm not going to turn down any information. I mean, these are groups that we would love to learn more about, and if there's an opportunity to highlight them in some way. And that actually reminds me, Nancy and Deb, if you have a PSA about Gold Star Wives that you'd like us to play on Wreaths Across America Radio, we can do that. It's a non-commercial station, so we're just sharing the PSAs and information about different groups and organizations. We do have one right now for NOVA, which is a nurses organization. But yeah, we'd be happy to look into that a little bit more. Pat, if you have information to share, please do. And that's one of the great things about, as a whole, our goal as an organization, we feel it would be disingenuous for us to call ourselves a 501c3 whose mission is to remember, honor, and teach if we did not work and help other nonprofits and groups that are doing that work in their community, which you all are doing. So it's an opportunity when we share your stories, it becomes part of our mission. And so that's where we get the opportunity to, educate. And it's really, it's what we do. I think it's the reason why Wreaths Across America continues to grow. I mean, on Julie's side with her team, they're getting different organizations all the time. We have American Legions and veterans groups. We have, gosh, Julie, I'm like drawing a blank. We have more types of groups that from, church groups and school groups and Girl Scout and Boy Scout groups. I mean, these are kids who are out there, and rather than selling popcorn or wrapping paper, which I buy a lot of, they're selling honor and remembrance, and hopefully learning a little bit about the veterans in their community at the same time while earning money for their own program. And it's a great way to give back in the community. And so one of the biggest criticisms that we as an organization get is, well, what do you do for living veterans? And our sponsorship program is what we do for living veterans. I mean, we've given back $15 million to other like-minded organizations who are doing good work in their communities, helping veterans, helping military families in their communities. That's what we're doing. We're helping them to have the resources that they need to do the good work in their community. So it's something that we take very seriously, and we're happy to, we try to make it as easy as possible for people to participate. Julie's team does a great job of really kind of hand-holding whatever resources that are needed. We have folks that are, I think of Joan Jones in Florida, who's in her late 90s, who raises thousands of dollars every year for local veterans to receive wreaths. And she doesn't do any of the technology, but she's very successful, and we help her be successful, and just with her notebook and her pencil calling people, and has the tools to do it and to give back in her community. So it really can, anyone can do it, promise. Is there anything, Julie, that I haven't said that you want to add? I know I say a lot.
I feel like you covered a lot.
I know I said a lot.
Yeah, like Amber, just to reiterate what she said with the liaisons, like, you don't feel afraid to start anything, because the liaisons are here, and we are happy to hold your hand and help you with anything. We provide a lot of posters for people. We'll help you draw up posters, create them. Our groups in North Dakota is one of our largest fundraising groups. They get their donations just by having cans that they collect change at a grocery store, local grocery store. Lets them put the cans there that has Wreaths Across America's information on it. People just put their change in there, and that's one of the biggest fundraisers. So, there's lots of ideas, and don't be afraid to reach out to us for help.
Mm-hmm. And the other, yes, Deb, if you're on chat, Deb, could you drop your email in? Folks are asking for your contact information. If you can drop it in the chat in the bottom. Mady, who I think was on here, Mady and I have talked a couple times. She's out in Ohio. Mady actually had a good question a couple months ago for her chapter. She has some older folks in her demographic. And one of the questions she had is, if we are a sponsorship group and we raise funds for wreaths, do we have to go out and place those wreaths? And the answer is no. So you don't feel like there's any obligation if you want to be part of and volunteer, and you don't have to sponsor wreaths to volunteer to place wreaths. So there's no either or situation here. If you want to just go out and participate in a National Wreaths Across America Day event at one of our, almost 3,000 locations, you can go to our website and find a location that's in your area that you can go to and be a part of. If you want to raise funds and be a sponsorship group, you are not obligated to show up and place those wreaths. There will be volunteers at all of these locations to do that. So our goal is to have as many people involved, however they want to be involved. That includes cleanup with wreath cleanup. I mean, when you place about 2 million wreaths, those wreaths still do need to be cleaned up. We can't leave them out there forever, every year. And that's actually a great way to get people involved in the community, and cleanup can be a really fun event as well. So there's different ways to get involved besides raising funds. So don't feel like that's an obligation. It's just an opportunity really for you if you wanted to raise funds. So I just wanted to keep that in mind. And I think that that was a good question that is important to know. So, and with that, I appreciate everybody's time very much. Thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your day to learn more about Wreaths Across America. I will be getting all this information to Deb, who will send out the recording of this conversation, as well as some additional background information and contact information for myself and for our Wreaths Across America radio folks. And we hope to hear from you all, and we look forward to continuing to work together. And feel free to ask any additional questions, via email, or you can call me. I'll make sure my contact information is on there. Know that as we get into the end of September, early October, we kind of get into season. So it might take us more than 24 hours to get back to you. We're not ignoring you, just gets into what we call our season, gets a little busier, but we'll get back to you within a couple days if we can't answer the phone right away.
So Deb, were you able, I don't see your contact information in there yet. Did you send it out in the chat? Oh, there it is. I want to thank Amber and Julie, it was a really great presentation. Hopefully it answered everybody's questions and you'll spread the word to those who weren't able to be on here. I know our chapter is pretty excited about the interviews and about the fundraising. So, and Deb is available for questions. I'm available. And if you guys saw I don't know if you wrote down the telephone numbers of the contact peoples for your state that were put up there. I don't know if we can put that
Yeah,
slide
we'll-
up one last
we'll-
time, or
Yep,
it'll
and
be in there.
it'll be in
But
there.
yeah, it's great. I had no idea. I'm sure most of us didn't know about the remembrance trees. That's pretty amazing. So I just want to thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it and having us and giving us the opportunity. We're thrilled to have you on board. And like I said, you know, we want to hear from you. We certainly want to share your loved ones' stories. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Oh, and I see Deb has another question. That's possible. How to do a personal Facebook page? I imagine you would just send the link that they'll have, right? Is that?
Yeah, somewhere I heard that it's possible to fundraise on your personal Facebook page.
You certainly can. You can absolutely you can fundraise for a number of organizations on your personal Facebook page through you can do like a birthday campaign. You can do a lot of things where you can pick Wreaths Across America. The way Facebook works, you can't specify that for a location. You can only specify, you can only do it for Wreaths Across America. And if you do a fundraiser, say for your birthday or something on Facebook, we just ask that when it's done, you take a screenshot of how much money was raised and send that to us so that finance, because we get the way Facebook works, they send one check at the end of the month and we have to then divvy it up based on locations and groups that participate in a Facebook fundraiser. So we just need to know. But there are ways to do that on Facebook, yes.
And you
So-
can, when you do a Facebook fundraiser, when you send that screenshot in, if you are signed up and you want to participate for a specific location or group, you can send that to your liaison and we will make sure that that does get credited to your location or group. There's just not a way on Facebook to indicate which cemetery or group it should be for.
So if your chapter has registered, there isn't a way then to just put that link on the Facebook page to direct them out?
Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry. Yes. I was misunderstanding Deb's question. Absolutely. Once
Okay.
you are registered, you will get once you're registered as a sponsorship group or a location, you get a custom page. It's wreathsacrossamerica.org/whatever your ID is that we give you. And then that is a direct link to your page where people can donate specifically to your group or location. So yes, and you can absolutely promote that. And we highly encourage you to promote that on your personal page by all means. Absolutely. Sorry, I misunderstood that question.
No, I think
Yeah.
it's two parts.
Yeah,
So I just
there's a
wanna
lot
make
of
sure
ways you
people
can
know
raise
they
money
can-
on Facebook. That's the short answer is you can raise quite a bit of money on Facebook. In order to guarantee it goes to your group or location, you'll need to put that specific link. To do a Facebook fundraiser, like, you know, for my birthday or something. I did one last year that raised a lot of money for Wreaths Across America. You have to there's no way to allocate that money through Facebook specifically for a group. So you have to just notify us so that we can make sure that money goes to the right place, if that makes sense.
Super.
We do have, and that's actually, I will say, we do have a whole social media team on staff. I have a dedicated team member whose role is to support groups and locations with social media help. So we can do custom graphics for you. We can help you get a page set up if you wanted to do a sponsorship group page specific for your chapter that supports Wreaths Across America. There's a number of things that we could do. There are a lot of questions about social media, and I know it seems scary even for me sometimes, and I do it for a living. And we have folks on staff who will certainly help you to be successful, because that's an important place for people to get the word out.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you all so much. I hope you all have a fantastic day. You'll be hearing from us shortly. Just give us about 24 hours to get all the information over to Deb to get out to everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
And thank you for all you do.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.